Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, we are doing a little walkthrough tutorial for people who don't identify with their signs. There are a few main reasons why you might not identify with your signs, but in today's video, we're gonna talk about one in specific. We're gonna be focusing on houses. I'm gonna talk to you a bit about this traditional concept known as aversion. Aversion essentially means that there is no relationship between the houses involved or the signs or the planets, but today we're focusing on houses. So if you've ever said, I don't identify with my sun sign, I don't identify with my moon sign, with my Venus sign, then this video might help explain why that is, short of looking at your chart and actually explaining to you why you're not a regular Leo, you're not a regular Scorpio. Then, this is the best I could do. I'm going to be making a follow-up focusing on the other things that could really modify the way that your signs express themselves. But in today's video, we're going to be focusing on houses. So in astrology, we categorize houses by different things. And you know how some houses are known as like bad houses? That is just like the simple, lazy, easy way of explaining it, but it goes a little bit deeper than that. So first, I just want you to know that the first house is a very strong placement, and anything that is found within that first house is going to have a lot of consciousness, because the first house is all about your personality, your conscious self. A lot of people identify a lot with their rising sign, especially if they have planets in that rising sign as well. That really strengthens it. There's a reason why the sun is exalted in the sign of Aries, because it's a very personal energy and it works very well together. So any planet that is found in the first house is going to be really strong, and you're really going to be able to connect to it. So remember that the houses are related. So the first relationship that is very obvious that we all know about is that relationship between the first and the seventh, right? Because they are on an axis. And what that means is that they can easily see each other. Whenever planets or houses are in aspect, that means aspect means to see. So that means that the first house can directly look out at the seventh house and see planets that are there. So let's just say you have your moon here and you have your sun there. Bad example, but let's just, if you were born on a full moon. So that means that your moon and your sun can see themselves very easily. So they are in an aspect. So that in itself, it's good, because even if that's a difficult relationship, having that opposition is difficult, they could still see each other. So you could sort of see where the moon or the sun is coming from. But there are a few places where that first house can't see. And the first place that the house can't see is going to be over here in the 12th house. And the reason why it can't see in the 12th house is because it's right next to it. So if you are sitting at a dinner and you have somebody that's directly in front of you, you guys can have a conversation, you guys can talk. But if somebody is right here next to you, you have to like physically turn around to hear them, to hear what they're saying, to see their face and all of that. And that is more difficult. So again, this 12th house is going to be a very unconscious place. Whenever you have a planet talking, let's just say, as I said, you have the moon here and you have the sun here. If you have that sun in Gemini, you're not going to feel like a regular Gemini if you have it in the 12th house, because again, your consciousness is here in the first house. So it has to actually, you have to go into your unconscious mind to understand anything that goes on in the 12th house, because again, they're right next to each other. There has to be some physical like movement, some effort that is going to be placed in order to understand what's going on in the 12th house. So that is one place that is averse to the first house. The next place that is averse to the first house is that second house. So let's just say you had the sun in the second house. So let's just say you're a Leo, right? Leos are supposed to be very bold. Leos are supposed to be bold, a little bit loud, not brash, very performative, very outgoing. That is supposed to be, the nature of Leo. But if your sun is in the second house, it becomes a little bit more internal. It is more concerned with material things, with safety, with security, with having material, sustenance, essentially. Things that are turned more inwards and more like grounded in earth, because again, it's like an earthy sort of house. So that really dampens that energy of that bold Leo sun. You're still going to be a Leo, but you're going to be way more earthy. So that is quite different. So the next place that the first house is averse to is, again, that 8th house. And the reason for that is because it it deals very well with the 7th house because, as I said, the 7th house, it's directly opposite and it could see right next to it. But anything that is right next to that 7th house is going to be averse to the 1st house. So there we have the 6th and the 8th. So whenever, again, as you guys may know, if you have your sun in the 8th house, that's sort of an important thing because it's really going to modify the way that your sun expresses itself. So let me erase this other crap so you can see what the hell I'm talking about. So if you have your sun in the 8th house, that is another placement that is really going to modify the energy of your sun. Whenever I get my Scorpio risings who have the Gemini sun in the 8th house, they're like, well, I'm not a regular Gemini, I'm way more Scorpio. I know this. You don't have to tell me. I know this. I'm an astrologer. But other people might not know this. So you know how Geminis care more about like having fun and being a little bit more free? Well, those Geminis that are 8th house Geminis, they do not feel that way. 8th house Geminis are very, committed. They like for things to be a little bit more set in stone because they are concerned with joining and binding of things, right? So that was just one example. So if you have your Aquarius sun in the 8th house, it's going to be quite different, right? And the next place that is going to be averse to the 1st house is going to be the 6th house. So if you have your sun in the 6th house, then that's another place that is going to be quite different. So you're a Sagittarius with the sun in the 6th house, but it's averse to your ascendant. So that outgoing, happy-go-lucky, ambitious Sagittarius nature that is very lighthearted is going to be quite different when it's in the 6th house because the 6th house is a house of toil. It's a house of work, hard work, illness, anything that is going to be burdensome and tiring and, require a lot of effort and work is going to be in the 6th house. So that sun is going to be quite different. So as you could see, those are the key places that are going to make your, this is just the sun, but the same thing goes for the moon and for other planets. I used to have a friend who had a lot of Aries energy in the 12th house, and she's a Taurus rising, and she could not accept that she had Aries energy. I would talk to her about more negative Aries traits, and she literally switched to Vedic astrology just so that she could use the Sidereal Zodiac and say that she had a Venus in Pisces. That's not how it works. You don't get to just switch to another system and you no longer have your tropical chart. I don't think that's how it works. But guys, that is just one way that your signs, your planets can be greatly modified. It's known as aversion, and it has to do with the relationships between the signs and the houses. So if this wasn't too complicated for you, let me know in the comments if you have any questions. If you want me to follow up, teach you more technical stuff that has to do with astrology. If you want to know another reason why you might not identify with your signs, let me know in the comments. I hope you liked the video. If you did, make sure you give me a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed, subscribe to my channel. I put out videos every single week, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.